Hey, what's up? This is Jasper at Get Paid for Your Pet, and today I'm going to talk about the developments with regards to my investment that I made in an apartment in Colombia, in the city of Cali. A lot of people have asked me about, how's it going, when it's going to be finished, and so I figured I'd do one video in which I talk about that. But first, I want to thank everybody for commenting on my videos and reaching out to me on email. I really love all the feedback, the support, and also the more constructive feedback that I've gotten. My goal with these videos is really to learn how to provide better content to you and to understand better, what type of content you're looking for, what's interesting. So I really appreciate those who've given me constructive feedback. One of the feedback points was that in yesterday's video, people didn't really like the background, so I've chosen a different background for this video. So I hope that's better. And of course, in the future, I'll do whatever I can to make these videos even better. Also, really like the comments on the videos on YouTube. Really want to encourage everybody, whether it's positive or negative. Yeah, I don't mind. I just love hearing everybody's perspective and opinion on the content that I'm providing, but also on whatever else you want to comment on. So thanks for that. Well, for those who don't know, I sold my apartment in Amsterdam in April. I'd been renting it out since 2012. So for about 5 years, it was a big success. But renting out on Airbnb is no longer possible in Amsterdam, at least not for more than 60 days. And so back in April, I sold my house, and I have been on a journey this year to find properties to reinvest the money. And so my idea is really to instead of having one property, having 3 properties in different places around the world, so that I can live in my own places, and when I'm not there, I want to rent them out on Airbnb. So I'm really looking for places where either Airbnb is legal, there's no restrictions, or places where there's some sort of way that I can do it legally. The one lesson that I learned from my experience in Amsterdam is that I really want to play by the rules. I don't want to worry about having to sell my apartment in the future again because there's some regulatory issue. And so while I'm talking, I'm going to show you guys some pictures of what the current state of my apartment in Cali, the third largest city in Colombia, is. I purchased the unit in May. Originally, it was projected to be ready around now, actually, around end of October, maybe November. Now there's been a few delays, which is very typical for kind of a larger project, because I guess I should mention that the apartment that I bought was in a building that has 4 units, and the company that bought the building has sold these units to investors such as myself. And so the whole building is going to be meant for short-term rentals. And that's really the only way you can do it in Colombia, because if you don't own the entire building, or at least 70% I think it is, you're not allowed to do any short-term rentals in the first place. So the idea is that the building was completely teared down. They demolished everything except for sort of the main walls and the main structure, but everything else was completely demolished and built up from the ground. So by the time these apartments are finished, they're going to be completely new. They're going to be 100% renovated. Everything will be new. The wiring, the sewage system, the pipes, everything. And that's great, because that means I don't have to do any renovation for probably the next 5 or 10 years or so. And so there's been some small delays, but it's projected to be finished around early January, maybe a little bit earlier. But there's one setback that I actually received today. Well, first, let me tell you a little bit about the process if you're ever interested in buying a property overseas, or maybe even in Colombia or any other country in South America, let me quickly touch on the process. So the first thing I had to do after I purchased it, I had to transfer the money. Now that was an interesting process, because as you can maybe imagine, you can't just transfer $150,000 to a bank account in Colombia. There's a lot of controls and regulations around moving money around into Colombia and out of Colombia. I imagine that probably has to do with the fact that Colombia has a history of being a big participant in the global drugs trade, and so I'm sure that's one of the reasons why the government is monitoring all the different flows of cash very carefully. So I actually had to open a brokerage account, and then I had to send over like chunks. I had to fill out a lot of paperwork in order to get the brokerage account. I had, there's a lot of due diligence. They really want to know, who are you? Where did you get your money? They don't want any money that's somehow associated with any criminal activities. And so the due diligence was pretty strong. I had like fingerprints, all sorts of stuff. But fortunately, the company that I work with, company that I bought the apartment of, they've actually been very, very helpful, guiding me through this whole process. They've always allowed me to only fill in the papers, only the things they really needed me to do, like the signatures and stuff, and all the other stuff they filled in. So they made it very easy for me, but still it was a lot of paperwork. But that's all done. That's all that was all like 6 months ago or something. Another thing that happened was, after I transferred this money to Colombia, my bank in the Netherlands also started asking some questions. So now I got this person, this compliance or due diligence person from my bank, the ABN AMRO in Amsterdam. They were now on my ass to ask me also the questions about, like, hey, where is all this money going, and how did you make this money? Because they apparently they are also obliged to look into any transaction over 10,000 euros, I think it is. And so I had to provide a lot of documentation to them as well. And so it's been it's been a little time consuming to get all that stuff done. But that's just part of the game. If you want to invest in a foreign country, then you can expect that there's a little bit more effort that goes into it than if I were just to buy another apartment in my backyard. So that's pretty much it as far as the initial paperwork. But unfortunately, I just got an email today that the Colombian government has decided to implement some new regulations. And as a result, I now have to fill out a new bunch of forms. And well, that's not the worst part. The worst part is I actually have to go to a Colombian consulate to get these papers made official. And I don't know what the right term exactly is. But the bottom line is I have to do a bunch of red tape stuff, and I can only do it at a Colombian consulate. Now, Taiwan is not being recognized by a lot of countries as a country, and therefore there's not that many consulates here. And it turns out the Colombian consulate, it doesn't exist here. So I'm going to have to fly to Hong Kong for a few days to get this stuff done. So not the end of the world. Hong Kong is a pretty fun city, so I definitely don't mind passing by there. But just a little extra effort on my part. And also, this whole process is going to take about 3 months. Thank you, Colombian government. So that means that I probably won't be able to rent out my unit until the end of January, maybe even the start of February. So a little bit delayed there. But on the bright side, everything is going well in terms of the refurbishment. And so I'm really looking forward to the month January, where I get to go to Colombia and check out my new penthouse. I'm really excited about it. I have another video on my YouTube channel where I show the apartment in the state that it was when I bought it. So if you're interested, you can go ahead and check that out. And also I wrote a pretty extensive blog post on my blog explaining exactly why I decided to buy this property in the first place. And so if you're interested in that, then go ahead, go to getpaidforyourpet.com/blog. And there, I'm pretty sure on the first page, you'll see a blog post. I think it's called Why I Bought a Penthouse in Colombia. So if you want to know more about that, go check out the video and the blog post. But if you have any questions, feel free to comment on the YouTube channel, or of course you can respond to the email that I send out. And you can also email me at jasper@getpaidforyourpet.com. So I hope you enjoyed this update. Happy Friday to everybody. It's Halloween weekend. So a lot of you will probably be out partying in all sorts of crazy costumes. I myself have actually gone to a costume shop today here in Taipei, and I picked up a captain's uniform. And tomorrow night, me and all my buddies are going to celebrate at a local party. And so I'll take a bunch of videos and make a little compilation of what it's like to be out on the night in Taipei on Halloween, because I'm sure that will be quite entertaining to watch for those of you who are not in Taiwan and who have never been there, who are curious to see what it's like to party in Taipei. That's it for today. So thank you very much for watching, and please comment, subscribe, reach out if you have any questions, feedback of all sorts. Very much appreciate hearing from you guys. And I'll be back tomorrow with another video. So happy weekend and see you tomorrow.